Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Amanda and I like to share videos of us starting our homestead from scratch and all the things that go with that. And if you're not new here, welcome back. It's New Year's. Happy New Year's, you guys. It is 2025. That just seems very weird to say. But I'm excited for this new year and everything we're going to be doing. We have a lot of stuff in store for this year. And right now, my main focus is inside the house because outside, it's snowy, it's cold. We're going into a polar vortex pretty soon, which is not abnormal for the Midwest. And we're just going to kind of hunker down and get a lot of inside work done. I have a cool little Christmas haul I want to show you guys, but for the most part, we've just been enjoying family, hanging out. We just got back from a 5-day vacation, and it was only about 15 minutes down the road. There's this beautiful lodge that my friends own, and my dad rented it out for my dad's whole side of the family. And we went down there and played games, ate some great food, and just hung out, watched movies. It was wonderful. So it was a nice little break to get away, but I'm super glad to be home, and I'm ready to get going on everything we need to do. So I'm gonna flip this around and I will show you some of the things I got for Christmas. The lighting is a little bit wonky because of the window and my cracked lens, but my husband, shameful that he is, spent entirely too much money and bought me a mock mill. And let me tell you, this thing is absolutely insane. I ground up some flour to use in pancakes, and they were some of the best pancakes I've ever had. And normally I use my KitchenAid with the attachment for grinding up flour, but I kept finding that attachment never got it fine enough, and it just made it really not super coarse, but too coarse so that the consistency of the baked good was off. And so here is some that I had ground. It's kind of hard to see. Some of the flour I had ground out of the KitchenAid. Let's see if I can get the top off with one hand. And if you look, it just looks kind of like cornmeal almost. So look in the corner, there's some really big pieces. And with the mock mill, it does not have that whatsoever. What it looks like is actual all-purpose flour, only not bleached. So it's got a little bit more of a tan hue to it. And maybe I'll take some time and mill some up for you guys today so you can see. But this is absolutely going to change the game with baked goods for me. So I'm going to incorporate this with my sourdough. I'm going to incorporate this more with everything that I use flour for. I'm going to be incorporating fresh ground. And hopefully my goal is to get completely away from buying store-bought flour and go 100% home ground flour. So that is one of the big Christmas gifts that I got. Well, it is the only super expensive one, and I didn't even want that. And my husband kept bugging me, what do you want? What do you want? And so I jokingly said, you know what, if you want to get me something for Christmas, because I kept telling him no. Like, if you want to get me something, I was like, how about you get me a mock mill? And he's like, what in the world is a mock mill? And I said, it's a grain grinder. And I said, look it up. And I said, but they're too expensive, so you're not doing that. Well, joke's on me because he went and did it. So that's super cool. I freaked out on Christmas when I opened that. But that was the one for my husband. And then this is from my mother-in-law. And this has to be one of the coolest things I've ever received, like meaning-wise, I guess. Because this is an actual loaf pan from the Pillsbury factory. Livy, you gotta stop, honey. And it's massive. Like, look at it in comparison to my arm. It's super long. And so I could do some really cool, like, pull apart garlic breads in here, or I could do like huge loaves for our family in here, like double up my flour recipe. But like I was telling my husband and telling my mother-in-law, I'm like, it's so cool. I don't even want to use it because I don't want to like stain it up anymore. I mean, it was used at the factory, so it's not like it's some pristine object, but I just don't want to mess it up. I want it to be like this. So there's a possibility it's going to get retired up on top of my cabinets when I take down the greenery I have up there right now. So that was super cool. And she knows me pretty well. I'm either baking, about to bake, or thinking about baking. She got me this, and I thought that was so cute. So once I'm finished painting in my corner, I might find a home for it up on the wall. I might do something over here. You can't see because it's too bright. So that was the other cool thing. And then look at this cute rug. So I've been needing something for my kitchen, and I just got rid of the Christmas rug, and it was perfect time to put down my little rooster rug. So I love it. The colors are pretty with our house. This is kind of the vibe we're going for with everything that we've painted. I mean, we have a lot to do. I've got Christmas that I've got taken down all over the place, and there's a Christmas tote there. I still have Christmas on the counter that needs to get boxed up. So we're going to be doing a lot of work today around the house, trying to get it back to working condition. So that's a little Christmas haul. I got more than that, but this is just what I pulled out right now to put away. So thought I'd share that with you guys. I'm going to finish my coffee, and we're going to get started on homeschool, and then I will take you with me because I think today we're going to start the pantry organization, and you cannot judge me when I open that pantry. So we got our wood stove in, and I have been trying to figure out just exactly how to get it running properly and some of the best ways to light it. Just kind of just get a feel for it is what I've been doing. So I just split a little bit of kindling and I just put it in a bin. I actually have a better bin than this white one now. It's not quite as hideous. It's a cute little wooden box that I got from my mother-in-law like last Christmas, I think. And it's got a chicken on it and it says chicken feed. So it's a lot more cute than this white box. But I just clean out the coals and the ashes and everything from the day before. And it has a cool tray at the bottom that you can just scoop it right into. And then you don't have to use a shovel and a bucket to try and make a mess everywhere, pulling it out of the stove. So that was really nice. And then, so I kind of just load up all different which ways the kindling that I cut, and then I will take some old it was wrapping paper, I think, at one point. It's just a brown paper. Doesn't have any dyes or anything in it, and I just roll them up, which is what I'm doing right here, and then I stick them in the holes of the kindling, like little spots where I can find, and then I just light it, and this starts getting my flue nice and warm, and it starts to get the stove warmed up, and it's just been a good process for me so far. So this is how I like to start our fires in our wood stove. And here's a little shot of it, all nice and toasty. Okay, so right now, it's a few days later. I had some physical issues going on and I didn't really get a whole lot done. I kind of took some downtime to rest. I think my body just fights a lot of inflammation at times, and so then my joints will get messed up, my stomach gets messed up, and I get like indigestion and sick stomach and crampy, and it's just a hot mess. So aside from that, I'm doing better now. So I've done a lot yesterday and my hair is crazy. Sorry. We got the house put together. Christmas is all taken down. Everything's cleaned up for the most part. There's toys, obviously. It's a house with children. What do you want from me? So we got that mostly cleaned up. There are a few other things that I want to do cleanup wise. There's some things that need to go back to my mother-in-law. The heaters that she borrowed us that I'm super grateful for. I'm gonna bring those back to her so that she can have them in case they need them. We just don't have a lot of storage, so we gotta get rid of some stuff, but it'll get cleaned up. And what I really want to focus on, let's see if I can find my list here, is meal prepping. I want to have part of my January, I want to do like a challenge, kind of like a pantry challenge, where you cook all your meals primarily out of your pantry and don't go to the grocery store. Now, I did just go to the grocery store because we were out of a lot of basic stuff that I don't have stocked. Like, for instance, milk, fresh fruits and vegetables, those kinds of things I don't have just on hand. And my kids still want fresh stuff for snacking. And so I decided I'll allow myself like maybe $40 a week to go and get the fresh stuff and the milk and the things like that we need. But everything else I want to cook primarily from our pantry. So I've got my handy little list here at the bottom, and right now I'm working on pockets. They're called, I don't know what they're really called. There's a real word for them. I'm pretty sure they're a German meal, but I've just always called them pockets. So I'm prepping those right now, and then I want to prep some meatloaf. I want to bake bread for us for the week. I have some spaghetti squash that I was gifted from a friend that I want to process and freeze so that I can just pull it out of the freezer, warm it up, and then I have spaghetti squash to make whatever I want with. I have a few more potatoes left. If you're on my Instagram, you can go and look at that. I processed like 3 whole boxes of potatoes from my uncle. Locally here, we were able to go pick some potatoes. That was also posted on my Instagram, and you pick them for free. They just let the public come out and pick them. And so we picked some, and my friend and I that I talk about, older couple, we all went out and picked some. I used a lot of those fresh at the time. I didn't preserve any. And then my uncle had extra boxes that he sent with me on Thanksgiving. And so they were getting close to needing to really get processed. So I did that before we went down to the lodge for my dad's side of Christmas. And I made a ton of mashed potatoes, and it's really cool. Little trick you can do with mashed potatoes is make them up how you like them. I use either sour cream or cream cheese and lots of butter, and it just kind of gives it that really nice creamy feel. And so I seasoned it how I like, had them all mashed up as if I were to serve them, and then you bag them up in a vacuum seal bag and vacuum seal it and then freeze it, and they freeze super flat. So I was able to put 4 cups of potatoes, mashed potatoes, in these bags, which is 1 serving for my family of 5, and I got 6 of those, I believe. So I have 6 meals worth of mashed potatoes ready to go in my freezer. I take them out, I put them in a pot of almost boiling water. I basically sous vide them, but just not like to a certain temperature, just until they're warm and ready to serve. You slice open the corner of the bag and you pipe it out into a bowl, and you got mashed potatoes ready to go. No work necessary. You just literally are defrosting it. So we got that done. I have some more that I need to do in there that were from the batch that my friend and I did. And I also made hash browns. That was the other thing I made with the potatoes. So we have hash browns in the freezer too. And then I've got breakfast burritos and English muffin breakfast sandwiches that I want to make. My chickens are not giving me any eggs, so I actually had to buy eggs from the store the other day, and I haven't done that in years. So I would grab the eggs and I just shook my head. I'm like, these freeloading chickens, but it's cold. I can't really blame them. They're all older. None of them they're all in their 2nd year or 3rd year. Some are 4th year. So I can't really push them too hard. And then I also have cauliflower and carrots that are fresh that I want to prep and just have in containers ready to go for my kids to snack on. And then I also had to buy onions from the store because I have gone through everything that I've grown. That tells me that next year, or I guess this year, I need to grow a lot more onions. So I want to dice those up and have them in a container so that when I make meals, I can just scoop and go. I don't have to sit and dice. For this one, I did dice it, but I'm going to flip this around and show you what we're doing here with these pockets. So the pockets are just, I have 4 pounds. Well, is it 4 pounds? Or is it? I think those were just 1 pound packages. I have 4 pounds. No, this has to be more than that. Oops, sorry guys. 2, 4, 6, 8 pounds? No way. This has to be just 4 pounds of ground beef I have in here. My onions are diced up in here, as you can kind of see. I have some garlic that I have in here. And all I did was saute my onions a little bit before I threw in my ground beef. And now I am just browning my ground beef. And I have already, you can see my mess here from the bread. I ground some flour. I promise I'll show you guys. I still have to feed some starters here, so I'll show you how the grinder works later today. But I've got my bread dough in the fridge so it doesn't rise on me while I'm gone. We actually have a homeschool thing we're heading off to here in a minute. So I put that in here because I'm just going to roll those out. And then this cabbage, oops, gotta get this cabbage out. This is a massive cabbage, and I was super glad I found it because I'm doing this bulk prep, meal prep. And so I'm just going to chop up as much as I see fit of this cabbage to go into this mixture. And it's just cabbage, ground beef, seasonings of your choice. And then you'll take the dough that I made there. It's just a quick sandwich or hamburger dough. And then you roll it out into, I think you cut it up into 8 individual like balls. And then you just stuff it with cheese. I put cheese on first so that when you flip it over, the cheese is on top. I put in cheddar. You could do pepper jack, you could do mozzarella, whatever cheese on hand you have. Put that in first, and then you put the mixture of the meat and the cabbage, and then you squeeze it up and make a bun out of it. So it's literally like a Hot Pocket but round. And then I flip it over and I put it on my baking sheet, and you bake it whatever the dough recipe says, 425 for 20 minutes, which, nope, 8 minutes, sorry. So I throw them in for 8 minutes on 425, and there's pockets. And that's my middle girl's most favorite meal. She said she loves it. I never would have guessed, but yeah, so she eats them up. That's what she requested for her birthday last year. So I'm gonna have that. The mixture is gonna be ready to go. I'm gonna put it in the fridge once I'm done here. We leave in 30 minutes to go to a homeschool event at our local like indoor playground and gym, and then it's also swimming. So we're gonna be gone for a few hours, just kind of playing, letting Olivia have some fun, and be with other kids. And so we won't be back until probably 5:30, 6 o'clock. And so this will be a super quick thing. I'll just take the dough out, I'll work it however I need it, throw the pocket stuff in, let it rise for about 15 minutes, and then they'll go in the oven. So it's a super quick meal if you're making it from scratch, but it's also something that freezes super well. So I can make a bunch of these, which is what I'll be doing tonight after supper, is making more. And I'm gonna freeze it in probably 8 packages of 8, because each dough recipe makes 8 pockets. And so I should hopefully have at least 5 or 6 meals worth of pockets in the freezer ready to go. So I'll probably flash freeze those, throw them in vacuum seal bags, and throw them in my freezer. And then I have a meal, so I can just pull them out, throw them in the oven to warm them up, and we eat. Okay, got my sandwich loaf here. I'm cheating using my, not really cheating, because there's literally a dough setting. So you put all your ingredients for your bread in a bread maker, and it will knead it for you. So right now I've done 3 cups of ground flour that I ground with my wheat berries, and then I did the remaining 4 cups the bread flour, the unbleached bread flour that I have. So I'm kind of curious how this is going to turn out. And I also made yogurt, and so instead of water, the liquid that I put in here was the whey that I strained off of my yogurt. So this is kind of an experiment. We'll see how it does. So it's looking really good. I mean, it's coming together nicely. So here after 14 minutes, it will rise for an hour, and after that hour that it has risen, then I will take it out, punch it down, form it into a loaf, put it in my loaf pan, let it rise for another hour, and then we'll be baking it. So we'll see how that turns out. Let's see, I've got a mess to clean up here. I just fed my starters. See, I had these 3 in the fridge from different times that it's the same starter, but different like batches that I had saved in the fridge because I was having such a tough time this fall with my starter and not feeding. And so what I've done is I'm trying to switch my starter over to 100% whole wheat ground flour that I grind myself. And so I've got the 3 batches out, and whichever starter is stronger and rises the best is the one that I'm gonna keep for sure. And then I'll probably just make some discard recipes with the one of the 2 that doesn't feed well. So I just fed them. I'm hoping that they'll rise before I go to bed tonight, because then I can kind of see what is happening. But the first feed that I did, which was a couple days ago, they didn't rise, and then the next day they actually rose. So I don't know what the delay is with rising lately, but I don't know. We'll see. So those are my experiments I got going on here. I never have enough counter space. I've got supper in the crock pot here. Got just beans. I'm going to do beans and cornbread for supper, some pinto beans and some pork stock. And then the ham is ham that we got from Petit Jean. It's the meat company in Arkansas. Petit Jean Mountain they sell meat, and their ham is incredible. I usually don't like ham, and this ham just is incredible. I love it. So we got a big one last year, and I vacuum sealed and froze slices of ham specifically for beans. So I pulled that out of the freezer, and then I just soaked my beans overnight, and we have those going. What else do we have going on in the kitchen today? Pockets. I did freeze a bunch of pockets. I have two meals worth of pockets in here. 1, 2. They're frozen solid, so now I got to get them in a vacuum sealer to make sure they don't get frosty and yucky. I have all this innard right here that I got to work with. So I'm going to clean my space, and I'm going to get going on the dough for these pockets, and it's super easy. I did do about half and half of the flour that I ground and half all-purpose, and they turned out incredible. So I'm going to keep doing that. Maybe if I make pockets fresh the next time, I will do 100% whole wheat and see how that goes. I'm kind of just dipping my toe in it right now. I don't want to go too hard on it and then have a bunch of failures. So we're just kind of playing with it and seeing how it goes. So I'm going to get my workspace cleaned up, and then I'll just set the tripod up. I'll put a little bit of music on for your viewing. If you want to fast forward it, you can fast forward it, or skip. This will probably be the end of my video, just a little catch-up video. I know we were going to work on the pantry, but this week has been crazy. Homeschool, we've had a lot of homeschool events, which has been really fun. And then I just have a stomach issue going on. I don't know if it's a flu or I don't know. I just can't really eat right now. So that's good because I don't really need to eat. But we're going to see if I can maybe just take it easy and feel better over this weekend. And if I'm feeling better this weekend, then I will definitely film the pantry cleanup. And I think I'll do my Azure standard haul in that video. And you can see what I got with this last Azure haul. So thank you guys for being here with me. I'm going to close this video out with me making the pockets. And we will catch you guys next time. Bye. So to get started on these pockets, I am shredding up some cheese. I prefer to use shredded cheese in everything. I just don't like the pre-shredded stuff with all the additives and junk in it. And then I am going to get my dough going with the water and yeast, and now I'm adding some olive oil. It's just a super quick recipe I found on Pinterest. It's nothing special. And then I think I do the sugar, and then I like to put an egg in. That'll be probably after this here. And I'm just mixing it up to get the yeast kind of incorporated and start to proof. I don't really proof this too much because I just got this yeast. I know it's good, so I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to get cracking on the dough. So I put in my egg, and I did half of the flour that I ground, and half of it will be the flour that's just all-purpose from the store that I'm trying to use up. And it turned out beautifully, actually. You'll see it at the end of this here, but I really like the way the dough looks with the home ground flour in it. You can tell the difference, that it looks different, and the taste is phenomenal. I'm so glad I got this grinder. It's just been so nice. So now I'm just letting my KitchenAid do the heavy work for me. I didn't feel like kneading it. You can knead it by hand. I didn't want to. I added a little bit less than a quarter cup of flour in here. It just was kind of sticky. Looking back on it now, I probably should have waited a little bit. I should have kneaded it, rested a little bit, because you want all the different components in your wheat that you ground to hydrate. That rest time really helps just get the fresh ground wheat nice and hydrated, and then it works a lot better when you are kneading. So that's okay. Everything turned out great. I didn't add too much flour. It wasn't super dense or weird or anything when I made it. So I just let the mixer go, and I think it probably was about 8 to 10 minutes of kneading that the mixer did for me. So that was really nice. I was able to get some other stuff done while I waited. And now I'm just going to flour my workspace, and we're going to roll out the dough, and I'm going to put it in a ball and separate it into 8 different dough balls. This recipe makes 8 buns. It's a hamburger bun recipe, and it works perfectly. So I'm just going to get it shaped out here. I just eyeball it, nothing too specific, and then we're going to roll it out, and I'm going to start adding the filling to it. So I had a little bit of extra filling left, and it really wasn't quite enough for me to make another batch of dough. So I just figured the next time I make pockets, I'll have this in a vacuum sealed bag in my freezer, and then I can add it to my next batch that I make when I do the meat and everything. So I got that vacuum sealed. That'll last forever in the freezer once it's vacuum sealed, to be honest with you. So it doesn't take up a lot of room. It lays pretty flat. So that was nice. And then the pockets that I had made the other day, I had put in the freezer in just a Ziploc bag to flash freeze them. Well, they sat overnight, no big deal. But now they're nice and solid so that I can vacuum seal it nice and tight, and it won't squish the pockets and make them kind of yucky looking. So this really helped doing the flash freeze. And I just sealed those up, and they're ready to go. And then you can see here is my final batch of pockets, and they look beautiful. Thanks for watching, guys.